Good morning, everyone. It gives me true pleasure standing before a generation of alumni of this department and larger fraternity of geography from the country to speak and remember two founding fathers of Indian geography. Major E.W. Dann, Ernst Walter Dann, and Dr. Ibadur Rahman Khan. There are many similarities between the first two founding fathers of this geography. Both were historical geographers par excellence. And that is one of the reasons why in the initial years, historical geography was very seriously taken at this department. So be it Professor Alvi, Professor Ali, and then Munis Raza. They all were very keenly interested in historical geography, and even Ejazuddin Ahmad got interested in historical geography later on. Second, both of them started their career as school teachers. Ibadur Rahman as well as E.W. Dann. And both of them had some training in England. So while E.W. Dann did his schooling, graduation and post-graduation from England, Ibadur Rahman did his PhD from University of England. And finally, both were very much interested in the development of geography education. And E.W. Dann wrote a number of papers about teaching of geography in schools. On the other hand, Ibadur Rahman also wrote a number of popular articles on, not specifically on school geography, but on the schools, and they were published in newspaper during 1930s and 40s. There were dissimilarities also, but I would not like to highlight the dissimilarities. While E.W. Dann founded the undergraduate department of geography in 1924, Ibadur Rahman, who succeeded E.W. Dann, became the founder of postgraduate department of geography. So with this background, I would also talk very little about what was there before 1924, because 1924 is truly a watershed. It is not that geography was not taught before 1924. They were in higher education as well as in the schools. Geography was taught in colleges and universities, but not by geographers. There were professors with the title Professor of Geography and Public Administration, Professor of Geography and History, Professor of Geography and Statistics. So one very famous name was Hirar Al-Kaji. He used to teach in University of Baroda, and then he went to Mumbai University, and he played a very important role in the development of Bombay Geographical Society. And geography was also taught at teacher training colleges, and many particularly those who are seniors, would remember the name of Sohan Lal, Rai Bahadur Sohan Lal. He was principal and teacher of teacher training college in Lahore, and he went on to establish a college in his own name. And then there was another person called Maulvi Nazir. Both of them were great teachers, and particularly Rai Bahadur Sohan Lal, he used to write on regional geography of world, different parts of the world, particularly continents. And his books were so popular because writing regional geography is a very, very tough job, particularly at a time when there was no information available. So his books were very popular, and out of royalty that he got from his books, he established the college, Rai Bahadur Sohan Lal College in Lahore. And after partition, this college was transferred to India. and it was merged with DAB PG College. So what I am trying to say that geography was there, but it was to the credit of Aligarh Muslim University that the first department was established. Though there were also efforts to start geography in the University of Madras by Patrick Geddes, and he also participated, but it failed. He also participated in the convocation, in fact, the foundation ceremony of Banaras Hindu University in 1916. There also he proposed Malviya ji to start geography department, because geography is such an important discipline, particularly when the world was happening, and geographical knowledge was very important. And then there was a name, very famous name, Sir Spencer Harcourt Butler. He was Lieutenant Governor of Uttar Pradesh and then became the first governor of United Province of Agra, and then it was known as, Uttar Pradesh was known as. So he proposed, made a proposal to Allahabad University to establish a chair of geography, and he was ready to fund. The only condition is that the university has to get a professor from the European country. But despite some very sincere efforts, the university could not establish the department. And then, in the meantime, Aligarh Muslim University was founded in 1920, and geography was, the executive council of the university decided to establish many departments, and geography was one of the departments. However, the department could not be established. But what happened that the person about whom I am going to talk, Ernst Walter Dunn, he came to Aligarh Muslim University as a school teacher, and subsequently he became the first principal of intermediate college. And it was lucky, he was a PhD from Oxford University, sorry, not PhD, postgraduate from Oxford University, and a student of Herbertson. All of you know about Herbertson for his very determinist view on major natural regions of the world. So he came here, and I will narrate the story a little later, but let me say a few things about the early life and career of E.W. Dann. He was born in 1878 at Bradford in England, and he attended schools in Essex and Oxford. And he was not a regular student of Oxford University. He joined for Oxford University for BA, but he was a non-collegiate student. So he used to occasionally attend the college from 1898 to 1902. And there he was taught by Andrew John Herbertson. And also he, at the time, H.J. Mackinder, the very famous political geographer, used to deliver lectures because at this university, so he also used to listen lecture from H.J. Mackinder, because many of his political views of E.W. Dann was influenced by Mackinder. Then he obtained a certificate of the Board of Education and joined school teaching. And he taught in many schools of England, and subsequently he completed his MA in 1913 and became headmaster of a school. And at that time he was the youngest headmaster of the entire England. And then World War I happened, and he immediately joined army, and first served as a captain and then as a major. He was attached to 8th Battalion of the Essex Regiment and Machine Gun Corps. And there his main work was training of cadets, and also he used to prepare maps to show the marching of enemy's army, the armies of the Allied forces. So that way he played an important role, and while training the corps, he got injured. And if you see his photograph, one of his eyes, it is totally injured, and he used to wear one glass. And the glass was hanging on the neck, and whenever he used to read, and he used to put the glass here. So, and this information I got from a very senior historical geographer, Robin Butlin. He is also working on E.W. Dann, and we have a common interest. And why he is working on E.W. Dann is the reason is that his grandfather and E.W. Dann were in the same battalion of British Army, in the collegiate school. And very soon, what happened, there was a recommendation for this. Before that, intermediate classes were part of the university, and that one, it was recommended that the intermediate classes would be created as a separate unit. And Aligarh was the first university to create independent intermediate classes, intermediate schools, in fact. So he was appointed as the first principal of this school. And that is the school where I got my training. And when Aftab Ahmad Khan joined as Vice Chancellor of this university in 1924, so he took up the case of the start of geography department, because the Executive Council had already passed, but the university was not able to start the department, and to cooperate with me in making this department the best of its kind in India. And a pattern to all others to follow. I am ready. Let us begin. So that was the last paragraph of the speech that he delivered, and it is there in Urdu also. So now at this juncture, I would also like to remember another person who was a very, very interesting personality, very witty, a top-class poet of that time, and his name was Qazi Jalaluddin. He was also fellow of Royal Geographical Society. He was basically a school teacher at that time. Now, interesting thing about him is that when this department was created, he was transferred from the school to this department, even though he didn't have that qualification. So, two very interesting things about him. One is, he was probably, I'm adding probably on my own, but I know that he was probably the first Indian to prepare a relief map of India. That is very unique. And he named it the Rees model of India, the Rees model. Why Rees? Because J.C. Rees was the headmaster of the collegiate school, and he was getting transferred to Lucknow. So in his honor, he made this Rees model of India and presented this map to him. So that is one thing. And the second, he wrote 12 thick volumes of book, and all the content of the book was basically of very general interest, and all those books were written in Urdu language. And now it is the duty of this department to look for these books written by Qazi Jalaluddin Ahmad. That would be a great treasure for this department. And the first batch, the department was started in 1924. The first batch of geography students passed in 1927. So there were 7 students. So let me read their names and try to find out if you know any one of them, if you have heard about their names. Okay, sir. No, this is undergraduate, sir. Not postgraduate. Okay. The first is Bhagwat Swarup Gupta. Second is Chaudhry Jafar Hassan Khan, Muhammad Hafizullah Khan, Muhammad Ali Alvi. I think you must be knowing Muhammad Ali Alvi. Yeah. And then S.M. Marghub Ahmad Siddiqui. then Sayyid Ahmad Ibn, and finally Sayyid Idharul Hasan. So these were the first 7 graduates of this department. So this is interesting, and many of you would not know that besides undergraduate, even the postgraduate teaching of geography first started in 1925 itself. And the first batch, because at the time MA was for only 1 year, because now we are going for new education policy, we'll have MA for only 1 year. If you have honors in BA honors, if you have passed 4 years BA honors, then you will have only 1 year for MA. So the first batch of 4 MA/MSc students passed out in 1926. Let me read their names. Abdul Hamid Khan, then Qazi Saiduddin Ahmad. All of you must be knowing. And then SM Tahir Rizvi, okay, and then Tawqir Mirza Rizvi. So Abdul Hamid Khan, I have inquired about him. He was he went to join civil services, and after partition he went to Pakistan and became a very senior civil servant there. Now what happened after 1925, because the quality of the staff was not good, so the government withdrew the recognition of both UG and PG. And however, the teaching of geography as an elective subject continued. The department existed, it was there, but only geography was taught only as an elective subject. And what happened, Dan was transferred to English department, and he became professor and head of the English department. Now I have already distributed a page, and all of you can see, he was a true polymath. I mean, when I say polymath, whatever he did it so well, he left a mark on that field. Be it swimming, music, poetry, photography. He was inventor of one of the techniques of photography. And then plays, he was a good singer also. Cricket player, he played first division in England. I mean, a number of fields he could excel. Now, the issue of this withdrawal of permission was discussed in the Executive Council of the university. And then, though even he was professor of geography, but he took additional charge of English department, and also he was teaching there. And he also taught in the Department of History, because he was a historical geographer. So at the time there were paucity of teachers, so one teacher used to teach in many departments, so he used to teach in 3 departments, and beside that he was also in many domains of the university. And then in the same year, 1927, the department was reorganized, new teachers were appointed, and some of the names I would just read: SM Margoob Ahmad Siddiqui, A.H. Qadri, and Muhammad Ali Alvi were appointed in 1927. And then geography was strategically renamed as Butler Department of Geography in 1927, because Butler himself was a Governor General of United Province of Agra and Awadh, but at the same time he was a geographer of great repute. He wrote a number of books on Central Asia, and he was a great traveler. And because of his experiences of the world, and because of the books that he wrote, he was drawn into the civil services by the British colonial government. And he revised the syllabus and modeled the syllabus on Oxford University, and the infrastructure were, of course, strengthened by adding surveying lab. Then several globes were also purchased, and in 1928, the government gave the permission to resume the teaching of geography at graduate level. So graduate honors degree was restored, and then the first 2 students who got graduate degree in 1932 because the department was reorganized. So their name is Girwar Prasad Maheshwari and Maqbool Elahi. So this is the second batch in a way, if you take into consideration 1927 batch and this was 1932 batch. And in the meantime, on March 27, 1925, the Karjan Geographical Society was started with E.W. Dann as president. It was a student society and it continued. I don't know what is the status today about the society. And a biannual journal, The Geographer, was started, and the first volume was published in January 1926. So that makes it as one of the oldest journals, because 1926 also the Indian...
Available here in the department.
Yeah?
Is still available.
The first volume is not available. Second is available. 1927th volume is available, and on the cover page of 27th volume, you can see the photograph of E.W. Dann and all the students who are the office bearers of this Geographical Society. So we also need to locate this 1926 journal because it had two articles by E.W. Dann. And Professor Robin Butlin, who is a collaborator, he asked me for these two articles, but I tried to search, called sir and Ahmad Bhai also, but I could not locate this journal. I searched internet, I went to England, there also I could not locate this journal. So it is also a challenge for us to locate. Generally we forget our history and we do not respect our history. So if we do not respect our history, the history will throw us in the dustbin. That is a given fact. So after E.W. Dann stayed here till 1930, and then what happened, the post of professor was on the rotational basis. So in 1930, the post of professor went from geography department to some other department. And then it was proposed to E.W. Dann to continue in the department as reader, but he declined and went back to England. And after that, he played some roles which were not very important from the point of view of development of geography. He was constituency agent of Conservative Party of Great Britain, and then he was also engaged in many other activities. Now, he was a teacher par excellence because he was a top class speaker. He was a man of many hands. You can see what are the fields in which he has made contribution. And his geographical ideas are also very interesting. I would just like to take a few minutes to throw light on his geographical ideas. And in particular, his idea on historical geography and the nature of geography. But before that, when E.W. Dann left England, so he got a letter from the then Pro Vice Chancellor of this university. So let me read what the Pro Vice Chancellor had to write about E.W. Dann. Outside the lecture room, he has thrown himself with energy into sides of university life, having been at different times president of cricket club, the riding school, and the sports club. A keen sportsman himself, he had brought drive and administrative capacity to the direction of the affairs of all the clubs with which he had been associated. There is no aspect of life in this university which has remained untouched by E.W. Dann. So, like many of his contemporaries, he also considered as a spatial distribution as the core of geography discipline. According to him, the focus of geography should be where and why there. Not only where, but also why there. And most important aspect of his geographical idea is that he considered geography as a holistic discipline. And according to him, geography, because it's an aerial science and an area is constituted by physical and social processes. So geography includes bits of economics, political science, astronomy, sociology, and also geology. So no geographer can consider himself fully equipped if he has not acquired little bit of knowledge about all the side disciplines. And again, he used to say that I believe that geography contains in its elements that are essentially of science, elements that are essentially of art, elements that are essentially of philosophy. So that makes geography truly a interdisciplinary subject. What we are saying that geography is an interdisciplinary subject because of its very nature. He was a very devoted student of historical geography, and he wrote 2 volumes on historical geography on regional basis. One was on British Island and the other was on Europe. And he justified the writing of history regionally because to him history or historical events do not operate on a dimensionless space. And further, the space which geographers refer to the Earth's surface is incredibly diverse. So while interpreting the historical events, the role of geographical elements cannot be discounted. This was also a tradition which is called French tradition of geography, geohistory, and the geographically informed history, or writing history with the help of geography. Now, I think I would not say many things about E.W. Dann. Now I would come to the second person, Ibadur Rahman Khan. Up time, 10 minutes. So Ibadur Rahman Khan, once E.W. Dann left, then Ibadur Rahman came in. He was born in 1897 in Farrukhabad district, passed matriculation at the age of 13 and a half with first class first. And he did his BA from Even Christian College, Allahabad in 1924. And for 1 year he taught in a school in Pilibhit, and then he was awarded a scholarship to study in England in 1924 and joined University of London for academic diploma in geography. And at that time it was known as LT. And then though he joined for academic diploma, but his deep interest in geography and extraordinary academic performance impressed his teacher, Professor James A. Lloyd, who himself was a historical geographer of great repute. And he asked him to continue here and admitted him in PhD program. And Professor Rahman completed his PhD in 1929, came back to India and joined UP Educational Service. He was placed in Agra Teacher Training College, Agra. He taught there for 1 year from 1929 to 1930. And since in 1930 E.W. Dann had left, then his services were loaned by Aligarh Muslim University. And he was brought here because there was a position of reader vacant, and also because the university was now trying to enter into the second phase of its development, that is to start postgraduate department of geography. So his thesis was on historical geography of Punjab rivers. And Professor Lloyd wrote about Ibadur Rahman Khan. Let me read. During 20 years of my teaching, I have never come across a more brilliant Indian scholar than Professor Ibadur Rahman Khan. And then he joined this department in 1930 as reader and subsequently became professor in 1935. Founded geography department in 1932 because he took 2 years to create a infrastructure so that the past events are not repeated. The government does not de-recognize the department, so he worked for 2 years, appointed new teachers, created labs, and at the time the location of geography department was what is called undivided Sir Sayyid Hall. Now it is known as North and South, so that time it was Sir Sayyid Hall. So in the lower Ismania hostel of Sir Sayyid Hall, the department was started. So he served here for 7 years. And then he went back to, because there was a pressure from one teacher in this department because he wanted to become head of the department. So, so he went back to his parent institution. And there he worked in various capacities. And there his role is also equally important. Inspector of school, principal of training college, director of public instructions, and joint secretary in the Ministry of Education. And he was a very influential member in a committee which was appointed by the government of Uttar Pradesh in 1938, where he was the member secretary and the chairman was Acharya Narendra Dev, a very well-known person. And the recommendation of this committee had far-reaching consequences. Now, a very unique achievement of Professor Ibadur Rahman is on implementation of Wardha education plan. Now, as you know that in 1937, Mahatma Gandhi devised a special education program that according to him, all the students of 8 to 14 years would be given compulsory education in their vernacular languages. And Swami Sampurnanand, then he was the chief education minister of United Provinces of Agra and Awadh. And then he was, in a way, personal secretary of Sampurnanand. And then he sent Ibadur Rahman to become principal of this basic teacher training colleges at Allahabad. And he implemented Gandhi's Wardha education plan so well that on his visit, Gandhi personally came to this institution together with Dr. Rajgopalachari. He was from Madras. And Gandhiji was highly impressed, and so was Rajgopalachari. Rajgopalachari went a step further and he requested Sampurnanand, why don't you transfer him to my estate so that I also want to implement this Wardha education plan. And you know, Sampurnanand was himself a scholar of great repute. He was he had great knowledge about Sanskrit and astronomy. So I have read his autobiography. So let me say a few lines from his autobiography. Ibadur Rahman Khan, and this is with regard to this implementation of Wardha education plan. So Ibadur Rahman Khan, whom I had especially selected for this purpose, deserves a special mention. But for his devotion and indefatigable hard work, the whole scheme might have foundered on the rocks of routine red tapeism. So, just 2-3 minutes more, because this is the occasion which will not come again. Okay. So after his retirement from the government service, he joined UNESCO because he had immense knowledge about school education. And then there was issue of refugees in Lebanon and Palestine. So he was especially appointed to develop schemes or plans for the teaching of the refugee children. So he was there in Beirut for a few years. And then, in the meantime, his family migrated to Pakistan. Most members of his family migrated to Pakistan. So in 1955, he went to Pakistan. And in Pakistan, he was immediately appointed as professor of geography in Karachi University and also the registrar of the same university. So he was registrar for 4 years. And he was also the head of the department for 4 years. And during his stay in Karachi, he also played a very important role in Pakistan's Historical Society. He was member secretary of Pakistan Historical Society, also its treasurer. So if you look at his contributions, he has not written much, but because sometimes he was mostly into the role of leaderships, and leaders usually do not get time to write much. But what I can say from reading his own thesis, I have the copy of his thesis. This thesis was published in Muslim University journals in installments in 4 different volumes. And at that time, the editor was Professor Habib. And he was the founder member of AMU Commission on Geography Education in 1952 and served as contributing editor of Pakistan Geographical Review and Oriental Geographer, which was published from Dhaka, still published. And then he was the founding president of the Pakistan Institute of Geography, which was founded in 1956. And then he was also a member of Institute of Royal Anthropology, and he translated a very popular book, The World, a General Geography of Indian Schools, for Indian schools, written by L.D.S. Tam. So he translated this book from English to Urdu. And in summary, I can only say that during 1940s, 50s, and even 60s, if you just see who were the well-known geographers in India, and not in India, in fact, entire South Asia. So I would say that majority of the famous geographers of South Asia were either his direct students or students of his students. So for this reason, and for the fact that he was truly an institution builder and he did so much for geography, not only in India but also in Pakistan, he is known as Babai Geography of South Asia. So now with these words, I think I should stop here. Thank you very much for giving me this opportunity. It's really a pleasure for me to speak on a subject which is very dear to me, and also at an institution from where I got my early education. Thank you very much.